Thabo and Nandipha Magudumana have filed an urgent court bid to stop the Beauty and the Bester documentary. Remember, it's set to stream on the platform Netflix from the 12th of September. The matter is scheduled to be heard on the 9th of September. So there's been a lot of questions to be asked right about this, because can it have an impact on the case that is currently taking place? But also at the same time, what does it all mean as they're arguing? Their lawyers saying there's an unfair targeting of the two. Is there really, especially when you look at the fact that this case is in the public domain? So let's discuss this now with legal expert Nonhlanhla. Nonhlanhla, good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. So when you look at what the lawyers are raising here, right, they talk about an unfair targeting of the pair, and they say that this is, of course, going to all be based on speculation. There's unsubstantiated evidence, etc., that's going to be portrayed in this particular documentary, which could be defamatory. What are the chances of success?
I think the prospects are quite low. You point out correctly that this case specifically has attracted a lot of media attention. I think the only thing that is important from the media house that will be publishing the documentary is to ensure that there's nothing factually that's defamatory. If they stick to saying there's an allegation B, allegation C, allegation D, then it's okay. I don't necessarily think that there's any good merit. And I think also we must keep in mind, this is also not the first media house that has been taken to court by both Thabo and Nandipha trying to interdict the airing of another or a different TV show. So it looks really, there's little prospect of success here. Obviously, one would want to fine-tune as a media house to ensure that you're not stating something as a fact. It's rather an allegation or an averment. That would generally be a more precautious side. And I also don't agree with the submission that they are receiving extra attention. I mean, their case is one that's unique and extraordinary. It has been publicized quite well in the media, and it's been followed by the media. So I don't really think there's anything unique or peculiar about them appearing on a documentary. But yeah, it's probably just them just taking an opportunity. But I really think the prospect of success is very low of them being successful in trying to convince a court, specifically because the convincing also needs to be done on an urgent basis.
So if it happens, right, that the matter, for example, is still ongoing and there is no decision by the 9th of September, could it delay the start of this docuseries?
No, so if there's no conclusion or there's no court order that precludes the commencement of the documentary is likely then to commence, unless, of course, they've got an order from a court compelling them. I think, obviously, the relevant legal representatives will want to argue or will at least plead with the court to have a judgment in writing prior to the date at which the documentary is intended to start, to try and see if there's an outcome or not.
And given the fact that from what we've seen in the public domain reported about this is that there appears to be new information that we haven't, heard of, some of the people that would have not, even appeared before the court, and we don't know if they are on the witness list at all. Can the information that emanates from there be used in court?
Certainly not. Remember that any information that is presented in court has to be information that is presented by the relevant legal representatives. So if the institution or the entity that aired the documentary had on its own took initiative to talk to more people and whom they maybe deemed important or maybe disclose a different angle or a different agenda, then they're entitled to do so. I think any legal or prudent legal representative, when presenting a case to a court, would want to ensure all the relevant witnesses are there. So if your legal representative didn't produce or present a specific witness, nothing precludes that media house from, talking to that witness, engaging with that witness, seeing their perspective also. I really think it's genuinely a long shot. I think the prospect of success is really low, and it's one of those cases that really have seemed to attract a lot of attention from the media, and it's been going on for quite a long period of time.
And can they appeal whatever decision, the court makes and possibly go all the way to the apex court?
Yes, an appeal is allowed, but I think because they're approaching the court on an interdict or on an urgent basis as well, if the interdict itself is unsuccessful, what will then arise is that the documentary proceeds to air. So even if they then go to a higher court or a court with a full bench and get an order in their favor, it becomes moot because the documentary itself has already aired. So maybe there may be, in the event that there's an appeal, of course, an alteration in their presentation of their arguments to a court, and instead of interdicting the appearance of that particular documentary, you'd want to take it off air. That's, of course, in an instance where, the interdict isn't successful at the first shot.
All right, an interesting time ahead. Let's see then what happens in court. Nonhlanhla, thank you so much for speaking to us. That is legal expert there, Nonhlanhla Mtshali.